Thank you, and thank you for having us. So yeah, I'm Pétur. I am a co-founder and CTO of Overtune. Uh, so maybe I can start by introing Overtune and kind of what it is we do before we go into more broader topics. Uh, and yeah, I think it would be appropriate to introduce Aurélien, who is here with me as well.
Yeah,
So
hi. Thank you very much for having me as well. Yeah, I recently joined Overtune as the head of growth, and prior to that, I was also, and I'm still a full-time producer. So I've been making music for quite a bit, and also some technology type of things because I have a computer science background that I've done a long time ago. But music is more my thing now.
amazing. So yeah, I think I can probably just jump in and do a quick demo, but to give you a sense of what Overtune is and where we come from. All right, let me share my sound. That should be good. Do, do, do. All right, so before I share my entire screen, let me make sure I close down everything email related. All right, so everyone can see my screen now. Okay, so this here is Overtune that you're seeing. Overtune is a web-based music creation tool. Originally, the idea of Overtune kind of came from. So I'm a musician and a producer myself, especially back in the day. And I used to do when I was around 17, I would get people from my school to the studio, and we would produce these kind of I don't know what it's called in English, cabaret songs. We would like kind of make fun of our friends at school and make a club song and publish that at a rave related to the school. And I would get a lot of my friends that were non-musicians, right? They would come and they would like get their attempt at the mic and they would try rapping or singing, and they would be very like opinionated on what we were doing. And I just remember having this observation that I sat down a beat. That beat was arranged from loops, and then we all got together and we started writing lyrics and we started trying this out. And at some point, I kind of just became a tool for them as a producer. So they were like, "Oh, can you turn off the drums over here? Or can you like, what if we only have the guitar and bass here and like I sing over that?" And like they didn't need any musical training to have those opinions. And that's kind of where Overtune comes from, was this idea if I provide beats that are segmented into loops, and I give the user a interface where they can arrange these loops. I kind of unlock a new experience for people that feel intimidated by the traditional like DAW, or have like heavy dependencies on hiring an audio engineer. So that's kind of the original idea where Overtune came from. But what you're seeing here, as you can see, this is running locally. So you can try Overtune if you go to overtune.com or create.overtune.com to go directly into the sequencer. I am currently working on this version here. So you're seeing an unreleased version of Overtune right now. But I think I'm just going to start from scratch to show you kind of how Overtune works in general. So every Overtune project starts by adding an instrument loop. You can select the instrument you feel the most inspired by, and this way you get into our loop navigation panel. So here I can browse loops. Let's do an audio check. Audio coming through. All right, perfect. So let's do something hip hoppy here. So I add this loop to my project. I now have this loop in here, and what I can do in simple terms is turn that loop on or off, or I can trim that loop. So I can do like very basic arrangements in here. If I open up the pack that this loop belongs to, we can see that we have this coherent beat pack where everything is produced in coherence. And so Overtune has invested quite a lot into a catalog where we have high quality producers. For example, Aurélien, who started working with us originally as a producer and like produced a part of this catalog. But this is all high quality beat packs produced by professional producers. So if I just get a beat going real quick, we have this. this loop here. Let's add drums, add the bass, and some keys. All right, so I can very quickly get this loop stack up and running. So ideally, I would have an intro, right? So I turn everything but the keys off here. Maybe we start layering. We do a little drop in here. This is quite a short song, so I can increase the length of this. And now I have a base I can work from, right? So if I want to write lyrics, that's very easy. I just have a panel here where I can start writing my lyrics. I'm gonna leave that be for now and try to keep this relatively quick. So this is like starting from scratch, right? Like here, I want to spend some time making my beat. We are focusing a bit more on the vocalist. So if I just scrap from here, I can open up a preset as well, right? So if I open up R&B preset, I get this prearranged beat, and I can start writing from here. So let me do one more sound check. I'm gonna mute my mic on Zoom. Let me see how I get that panel up. Hello, can you hear me? All right. So, oh yeah, it's kind of hard to speak with Autotune. So I'm just gonna record something and then jump back to the Zoom mic. Yeah. This is a demo, All right, let's leave it at that. So you can hear me again on Zoom, right? Perfect. So I don't know if you noticed, but like we have a lot happening on this voice track here. If I open up the effects panel, this got loaded with a preset, so we have a bunch of effect presets here. This is all for the more technically oriented. So this is all our proprietary audio chain. Like we have our own pitch correction algorithm, which does a lot of cool things like format shifting, obviously pitch correction. I can switch. So this was with a hard tune. I can do a more subtle tune if you don't want to have this pronounced auto tune. Yeah. This is a demo, All right, so you can kind of get the drift here. What we've been working very hard on is making editing as easy as possible. So if I zoom in a bit here, if you want to fade in a clip, that's as easy as this. If you want to control the volume of an individual clip, you can do that from here. We do have like a smart duplicate feature. So if you have a verse in place and I recorded that from here, I press smart duplicate and it finds the next available slot for this clip. So it should still be in perfect alignment with the beat itself. Adding keyframes, we seek a lot of inspiration from tools like CapCut and video editors that kind of focus on making music, or in that case, video editing, in our case, music creation, as intuitive and accessible as possible. So if I add a keyframe here and I change the voice character to something crazy over here. We got our automation going. Everything is happening under the hood. So we have like all the metadata on the beat pack that you're using. So we set the auto tune for you. We set the BPM of all of the delays, all of those effects. We have a parametric equalizer, which also has some pretty useful profiles that people can use. But the whole point is to get vocalists into the creative space and kind of recording, creating, and writing, like acting as songwriters as soon as possible, and bridging that gap that exists currently between producers and songwriters, that especially songwriters that are taking their first steps. We can export directly to SoundCloud from here, or we can get our stems, our masters, or MP3 file. Currently, we give everything away for free, export it as an MP3 file. The high quality export, so a high fidelity WAV file or stems is behind the paywall, but we are expecting some changes to our subscription model shortly. Aurélien, is there something I should go over before we open up this talk a bit more?
Maybe you can talk about the discover feed maybe.
Oh yeah, so this is unreleased currently. You're probably gonna see a lot of private. This is just from testing, but yeah. So we are. Yeah, I can't speak too much on it, but we are about to roll out a partnership with SoundCloud, and a part of that is integrating these two platforms in a way where we can host the music on a social platform from our end, and that gets in return like fully accessible on SoundCloud. But I can only speak in a limited manner on that partnership until we go public. But yeah, essentially you can kind of explore and discover like trending or the latest songs on Overtune from the discovery page. One thing which is worth mentioning that you're not just bound to the beat pack that you worked from. So in this case, this arrangement is all a single beat pack. If I go back into my loop panel and let's say guitar solo. Oh yeah, I'm on local, so the backend is a bit messy. Search engine is not functioning on local right now, so I'll just pick something from here. If I grab this loop here, so this is a synth loop, which is in its own key. I add that to my project. It gets added to the project, and automatically Overtune matches the BPM and the key of the track that you're working on. So you can start exploring by mashing together beat packs, taking one loop from this pack and one loop from that pack. A feature which we're not really ready to demonstrate right now is a different starting point where a user already has their beat, right? Like they might have bought that beat from a producer or found a free beat online. So first, I do have it open here. Oh, So this is the Overtune Analyze. We've been working quite hard on this. This essentially is not going to be exposed to the user. This is a backend tool, so it all happens under the hood. But essentially what this allows me to do, if I just select a random beat from our drop-down list here, so this also runs in browser. This is not a server-side algorithm. We detect the key, the BPM, and the general signature of that pack, as well as estimating the chord progression. And that allows me to align that with the Overtune grid itself. So if I play this with a click track, you can hear we automatically have the structure of the beat laid down. So this allows like external music to plug right into the Overtune ecosystem, allowing the users to use Autotune or whatever presets they want without having to understand how to analyze the key of the beat that they're using. So that's kind of what Overtune is all about. It's making music creation accessible to the vocalist with as low user friction as possible.
Another thing I could add, sorry, Pétur, for the sequencer, another thing that you can do is like once you're happy with the loops that you have, you can convert them into audio, and then you can do more editing on them if you want to. So you not just stick to what you have, you can still like convert and then start messing around and tweaking stuff.
Right. So we support all of the expected editing capabilities of like other DAW. So you can use the slice tool here to cut up the loop. You can, of course, align it with a grid if you want to do like a triplet stutter. We support that. So for people that have a bit more advanced understanding of how they want to edit their audio, we fully support that as well. Yeah, I think that's probably a good time to stop this product demo and kind of move over to product philosophy.
Thank you so much. That was great. We do have a couple of questions on the demo. Carolina, which is on Zoom, is there a way to log in without connecting to Google or Apple?
That is a good question.
Just
Unfortunately,
by using an email address, basically.
The answer to that is currently no. You have to create an account to start using Overtune. We are like debating it internally if we put the demand of login on like when you save your project or if we push it further down, but giving like a completely free access to Overtune without registering at all is something we don't really allow at this point in time. However, like we have been considering allowing just signing up with an arbitrary email and creating a password the traditional way. But the whole idea by using Apple or Google is just minimum friction on sign up.
Thank you, Pétur. And we have a question from the Mighty Networks people that are joining still. Are you seeing any people releasing music made entirely on Overtune at the moment, or is it still just a starting point?
Yeah, so we have seen people releasing music, yes, for sure. Mainly people use Overtune for demoing or publishing on SoundCloud, but we do provide our users with a non-exclusive distribution license on all of our loop catalog. So there's like really no friction point to releasing the music through a label or whatever you want. Like as soon as if you have an Overtune subscription, as soon as you take it off platform, it is up to you what you do with the music.
And we have a few vocalists joining us today. I don't know if any of you have any other questions. So a few people are asking if everyone similar question. So if everyone has access to similar tools and sounds, is there a way to avoid everything starting to sound the same?
Right. I mean, this is the traditional auto-tune hip-hop aesthetic. So we lean a lot into the kind of SoundCloud rapper. So that's like a lot of our presets have that aesthetic to them. But as I demonstrated earlier, like if you're interested in using the pitch correction, but you don't want to sound like Travis Scott, you can set that to a like subtle mode where the auto-tune is not pronounced. We try to cater to a pretty diverse catalog of beat packs, but what we're releasing hopefully within the next couple of weeks is the option for users to bring in whatever beat they want into Overtune for their creative session, opening up even further the creative possibilities. So not really a great concern of ours that we have a unified sound, because our emphasis is to capture your voice, and we spent a lot of effort when we built our pitch correction tools, which is the biggest like modification to the vocals that we make, that we hold on to the timbre, to the character of the voice, and try to maintain that. But the reason my demo sounded like Travis Scott is I'm a terrible singer, and our presets are quite predominantly focusing on the SoundCloud rapper at this very moment. But we intend, so we're trying to maintain a focused product vision, and at this very moment we are catering a lot to hip-hop oriented artists, but we intend to kind of broaden that scope and open up to more variety of styles and sound. But if you are technically oriented, if you know how to work with our effects, we do have a full effect stack, and you can like set up whatever order of effects you want, and you can just use this like you would use a DAW to get like a customized like voice effect stack on whatever you're creating.
Thank you. And we have a question from Ali, and the question is, so it seems like you're shifting power towards more like the vocalist without working with producers, but does that change in the creative hierarchy between the producer and the artist?
So honestly, I remember like early on getting a question from a producer, which was like, and that was before AI was a thing, which is like horrible in this sense. But he asked me like very genuinely, like, are you trying to replace producers? The answer to that is no. There's no way. We are 100% dependent on producers. We have invested quite a lot of money into our catalog, and as you can see now, we're about to open up even further to allow like custom produced beats onto the platform. So our vision, and again, I have to be careful not to overshare, but a part of what we're looking at with SoundCloud is bridging that gap even better. So what we want ideally in our product vision to do is to connect the producers and the vocalists together through this digital platform, where the access to producers becomes even more accessible, and the producer is spending less time on the vocal tracks themselves, and providing the beats is more the role of the producer here. But we are very dependent on the producer.
Thank you. That's really helpful. We do have a few more questions. I think you covered them up. One, Nick is asking, you said something about SoundCloud, but they missed what you were saying about the release date with the collaboration. Can you repeat that, please, if that's okay?
Yeah, so I can't really reveal an exact release date of the partnership there.
It's okay, it's
okay. so yeah, not too much detail on that,
No,
unfortunately.
no worries at all. We'll forget it. Okay, then. So should we? Do you have anything else to say, Aurélien and Pétur, just to see some other questions? Okay, I'll just ask one more. Do you see from? Sorry, this is from Sally. So, do you see this replacing Overtune replacing collaboration, or is it creating a new kind of collaboration?
Creating a new kind of collaboration, definitely. We also, so there's a lot on the horizon as well. Currently, we have our catalog, which serves our users and does so pretty well. But that is, of course, limited to the number of beat packs we have available, etc. But what we've done technically by putting the web stack first and building essentially our technical backend in a way where we can host collaborative sessions. And that is eventually kind of the scope of the platform. It should open up for further collaboration and, for example, allowing a producer to send a beat to a vocalist. The vocalist throws down stems or like throws down vocals with their kind of idea of how they want it to sound, and then just exporting the clean stems, sending it back. The producer can do whatever they want in whichever DAW they work in, and Overtune being a part of that creative communication process is for sure the vision that we have for the product.
And I mean, also, if I can add to that, like as a producer myself as well, like I would go to Overtune to find some of the loops that I find interesting and brought them to my other projects outside of Overtune as well. So I think like it really opens the collaborations on both ends, if that makes sense.
Sorry, yeah, thank you. Sorry, I'm just trying to moderate both screens. Okay, that's great. So I do have a question that sits outside the demo. So the question is from, sorry, I lost the name. 1 second. From Liz. And so a lot of the music tech companies feel like it's built by a certain person to like an engineer by an engineer for engineers. Where do you think most tech companies misunderstand how artists actually create?
Yeah, I mean, I think the question kind of answers itself. That is very spot on and on the nose. Like I am very prone to that error of thinking myself. Like I've been like both a programmer and a producer since a very young age, and I'm very technical. And oftentimes I find myself trying to expose some parameters that our users don't even know. Like they read the name of a parameter and they're like, "What is this?" Right? And that's fundamentally what's kind of there's so internally we talk about it quite a lot. Like we've been in this space for like soon to be 5 years since we started originally building music tech, and we've seen a lot of companies, for example, BandLab, that started out with a vision of kind of being accessible for music creation, and then they just start loading in more and more like traditional DAW features, right? Like MIDI support, and then it's synthesizers, and then it's like a full effect stack. And eventually they are now just a DAW with the same restrictions for a vocalist that just wants to start recording. And yeah, in full transparency, we recently, like the version of the product that you're seeing today, like that I demonstrated earlier, it's an iteration that's a bit different from what you actually get on the web. And we're like constantly trying to kind of understand where we're doing exactly this. Where are we projecting our perspective as engineers onto our users? And we're trying to get user feedback, understanding like where exactly are users getting confused. And Yeah, we definitely, like, I don't think the same as a creative vocalist that has no technical background. And that's for our feedback. But that is how we are trying to differentiate ourselves from other like digital audio workstations, that we really are putting a lot of effort into trying to become accessible for non-technicals and not catering to the producer.
Thank you. And I have a question from Helen. How much control is enough for a vocalist before it starts becoming production again?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I mean, this is of course a spectrum. You have like, you can take one vocalist that has no technical background and looks at the effect stack that I showed you and just gets very disoriented. That user is actually the user that we're quite focused on right now. So when you create a voice track in Overtune, we don't automatically open up the effect panel, right? You select a preset. That preset is descriptive, and that's what that user is getting, right? He's getting the sound out of the box. Then you can take that same user and you can follow him for, let's say, 2 months. And if he consistently uses the product, he might start to ask himself, how can I change these things? And that's how we try to approach this. We definitely want the control to be accessible, but we want to nest it in a way where if you want to go out of your way to see under the hood, that should be accessible for you. But as a basic user, that's not what we're kind of putting in your face and prioritizing in our user interface. And yeah, so we do have quite some support. Like, you can automate effects, right? You can, like, if you want, you can use an advanced like equalizer, and we have like a de-esser. We have all of those things, right? But we assume that the user does not even care too much about how that works. They just want it to sound good. So that is the amount of control that we assume a user wants, right? But then first, we have it all working under the hood. If you dig deep enough, if you open up the effects panel, you can see what makes up the preset. And if you start playing with the knobs, you might notice that you can actually put down keyframes on those knobs, right? So yeah, that's at least how we try to approach that.
That's great. Thank
And
you.
if I can add to that, sorry, I feel like also like the way we were pushing it is a little bit more easier to understand than when if you jump on Ableton, for instance, so Logic Pro, which are like more professional DAWs, and it can get very, very overwhelming because you don't understand like where the sound goes and like all the buttons and stuff. And so we're really trying to make it so it stays as simple as possible for the less friction. And like Pétur was saying, we have those presets that it's just basically plug and play. You just gotta plug your microphone or like your iPhone if they want to, and just go straight ahead into creating.
That's great. Thank you. Are there any other questions at all from both groups joining us today on? Well, we only have Carolina on Zoom, but we have Mighty Networks. About 15 people are listening to you. So, okay, yeah, there's a couple of more. So, from Liz again, is there a point where giving more control recreates the same barriers as you're trying to remove? Is this making any point?
Yeah. I think that's a very valid question. And I mean, it kind of speaks to what I just said earlier. Like, that's a pitfall that we do fall into, right? And we try to like not hold too much back. Like, we try to make improvements based on user feedback, and then we roll those improvements out. And then if those improvements have a negative effect, we might roll them back in and address that differently. But that is kind of the core at our product philosophy. Where is that line? And that's also why we are very focused on the SoundCloud wrapper at the moment. Because again, if we make a very broad description of a vocalist right now, and we try to say like, what is the average for this, right? Like, what's this average user, and we have a too broad of a group, then of course we're gonna get a lot more noise in that answer, because a vocalist that is used to equalizers and compressors and understands how this the technicalities affect their voice is always gonna have way different criteria than a vocalist that has like more abstract ideas of what they want to sound like. So I think it's interesting to point out that like our inspiration comes largely from applications like Canva and CapCut. And CapCut is actually a great proven example where like if any of you have like monitored them through the years, they started out basically as like a augmented reality visual effect content creation app. Like essentially, that was kind of their whole value proposition in the beginning. Like use this effect, like put your palm in the air and the rain stops. And they had like these effects. And then they were like kind of catering to people that were interested in like visual effects and edits, but were intimidated by Premiere Pro or whatever editing software is out there. And first they kind of focused on that group. Then they started layering in more and more control, but they did it in a very like tasteful manner where like I've worked a lot in the advertising space throughout my career. And I would say that I am a professional when it comes to media. So I have pretty high standards for video editing software. But when I use CapCut, I have most of the things that I would expect in there. But if a person is editing their first video, they're not faced with like, I don't know, like some chroma graphs or some insane like editing options. They're facing a simple like, oh, this is where you keep your video clips. This is your timeline, and you can like cut and delete and splice things together. And it's not until you start like poking around, right? Like looking under the hood, like going into the settings buttons. And that's when CapCut kind of reveals its true power to the user. And we seek a lot of inspiration from that philosophy and want to approach music creation in a similar manner.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions at all? Is there anything else you'd like to add, both of you, Pétur and Aurélien, before we end the session tonight, whatever?
I'll throw the ball to you, Aurélien. I've been yapping quite a lot now.
No, I know. I'm just trying to think now. I'm trying to think. It's just like, yeah, the philosophy is also like it's been currently you saw a lot of the like obviously the AI companies coming in hot, you know, like regarding their products, and we try to be the opposite of that, where you don't use AI, there's no AI in our product, where that helps basically the creators on it, if that makes sense. And so we kind of that philosophy that like the process of making music is like what's the most enjoyable and what really matters, because for instance, like we talk a lot about Suno and Mikey Schulman, the CEO, and where he says that like people don't want to learn to play an instrument because it takes time and it's frustrating and stuff, but like it is part of it. This is where the fun is as well, and we really want to try to what's it called? Keep that, if that makes sense, as the core essence of the product. If I can add something.
Yeah, I think if I can speak to that a bit, I mean the title of this talk, if I'm not mistaken, was what does like big tech get wrong about the vocalist? And I think like a lot of creatives are very like disencouraged lately with like a lot of like these Suno AI advertisements that are getting like there's insane capital behind that. So the exposure, like the paid exposure and the, I'm going to say propaganda that's being pushed about the creative process right now is quite overwhelming. But it's also just, there's a lot of lies happening as well. Like lies about like the expectations of the creator, like lies about the people that listen to music. Like there are like large corporations that are pushing a narrative which says that people are okay with listening to AI-generated music, and that the new way to create music is by just prompting it and getting something from an like AI model, right? But when I look at like, so we use like intercom on our product where you can send us direct messages like through our product interface. We have like we have multiple ways or channels to communicate to our users, and we get a lot of feedback through there. And we have never had a user say, can I please generate a loop? Can I please generate a beat? Like one time we had a guy from India that tried to use the intercom chat as a prompt chat. And that's the only real signal that we've seen from a user expecting AI in their creative process. So, and we do have a lot of user feedback. We're not lacking feedback. So that tells us a whole different story about the user expectation than we're seeing from like these PR headlines, right? That's the same comes with like if we look at from like a PR perspective, like how do we want to position Overtune and how do we communicate with other creators? And I don't see any creators that are excited about using generative AI to create their beats. If anything, I'm seeing people more vocal right now about like their creative process and what really matters, like what is the creative fingerprint to like both like ranging from instrumentalists to producers to vocalists. And we're not bulging on that. Like we celebrate being able to use technology to improve that process, but we see no real signal of our users wanting to AI generate their beats or our users wanting to AI generate their voice. Our users want to express themselves with their voice and have tools that assist them to execute that and deliver their expression through that manner. And that's the route that we're sticking to.
That's incredible. And Aurélien, do you have any other comments on that?
I think it's also for me personally, like when those new AI what's it called, DAW started popping out, I was like, let me just give it a try just to see. And it does help a little bit, but I always thought it was not as great as like actually working with people and creating with real musicians and stuff. And after that, what really made me completely dislike, I respect people who wants to use those tools. Obviously, anyone can do whatever they want. But for me, it was also a kind of like ethically, it was kind of weird because there's been all these lawsuits because those companies were training their models by stealing huge amount, like huge catalogs. They were training on a lot of music that where people didn't give their consent. And for me, I think this is a really big problem. You see what I'm saying? So this is where there's been a very big friction, and I don't see myself use those tools to create. I rather struggle to find a chord progression, and rather than just using those tools. But that's just me personally. Like I said, if people are using these, I totally respect that as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Pétur, Eggerz, and Aurélien Merz. We have quite a few great comments on the other side of the chat as well. Carolina says, this is a great program. Thank you. And it was really insightful to see the thinking behind Overtune and how you're approaching music making from a vocalist perspective, and not only the ethical background as well, using AI and all that. So thank you so much to both of you for your time, and to all of you that joined us tonight and today. I'm going to end the session here, and you have a wonderful rest of your day or night, wherever you are.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Then.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye-bye.
Bye.